Today I want to talk about probably the most unlikely alliance and the alliance that the least people know about of South Africa's past. Did you know that the Irish Republican Army, or better known as the IRA, didn't only teach the ANC how to make bombs, they even helped them pick their targets? Long before 1994, the IRA formed a secret terror alliance with the ANC's armed wing, Umkhonto we Sizwe, or MK as they are known, providing training, reconnaissance and sabotage support for one of the most devastating terrorist attacks to ever be conducted on South African soil. Stay tuned because this really is an interesting story. After securing secret explosives training from IRA operatives in both Ireland itself as well as in Angola during the late 70s, the ANC's military wing Umkhonto we Sizwe set its sights on one of the apartheid state's most vital arteries, the Sasol fuel production network. Because South Africa faced tightening global oil embargoes, the coal-to-oil plants at Sasolburg and Secunda served as the backbone of the country's energy sector. It provided fuel for transport, industry and for the military. It was here that the IRA's assistance went from just training to operations on the battlefield. IRA volunteers personally conducted covert reconnaissance on the Sasol facilities and provided the MK with technical planning support for a large-scale strike. On the 31st of May 1980, South Africa was celebrating its independence from the British Empire, and MK launched coordinated bomb attacks on all three facilities, detonating explosives inside one of the most secure and strategically vital industrial zones in a country that had by that time become renowned around the world for its energy independence. The Sasol attacks therefore marked one of the most significant blows ever struck against South Africa's strategic infrastructure, and they were carried out with Irish insurgent support on South African soil. The attacks then emboldened MK's Special Operations Unit, boosted morale inside the ANC, and publicly showcased the movement's capacity to strike high-value targets far beyond just township uprisings, where the only real targets were other black people who were necklaced. Qadar Asmal was one of the early stalwarts of Umkhonto we Sizwe in the struggle against apartheid. Growing up in a Muslim family in Durban, like many South African Indians at the time, he became a politically active member of the ANC during the 1950s. He was such a dedicated comrade and integral part of the ANC leadership that when the party finally took over the country in 1994, he was awarded with 2 full terms as a minister. First as Minister of Water Affairs and Forestry in the cabinet of Nelson Mandela, and then as Minister of Education under Thabo Mbeki. The greater share of Asmal's involvement with the struggle came during the time when he lived abroad. After graduating from university in South Africa, Asmal left for London in 1958, at the age of 23, I believe. Here he studied at the London School of Economics and Political Science. He subsequently moved to the Republic of Ireland in 1963, where he would live for the next 25 years until 1988. In Ireland, Asmal first studied and thereafter taught as a professor of human rights law at the Trinity College in Dublin, and he helped found the Irish anti-apartheid movement, which became probably the most influential and active support base for the ANC for the next few decades. In the late 1970s, Asmal even reached out to a man named Michael O'Riordan, the founder and general secretary of the Communist Party of Ireland, for the purpose of arranging military training for MK terrorists. O'Riordan, in turn, contacted Gerry Adams of Sinn Féin, and it was arranged that 2 military experts would come to Dublin, where Adams promised that the Irish Republican Army would provide assistance to the military struggle of the ANC. And here comes the shocking history of how that assistance unfolded. A secret meeting between two MK operatives and two IRA military and especially explosive experts followed, where in an unknown location in Ireland, these MK terrorists were provided with 2 weeks of intensive instruction, primarily in the use of explosives for the purpose of high-level sabotage. In his memoir, Politics in My Blood, Osmal recalls how he commanded these two operatives to convey what they had learned to others in the ANC military training camps in Angola. Shortly thereafter, 2 more IRA explosive specialists also travelled to Angola for the purpose of providing more MK militants with a further fortnight of training at their camps. This training focused on timers, detonators, urban sabotage, tradecraft and operational security, skills core to the IRA's own campaign and directly relevant to MK sabotage focus. But IRA assistance went even further. MK wanted to bomb Sasol plants that were critical to the apartheid government's fuel supply chain because South Africa lacked sufficient crude oil imports under growing embargoes and sanctions. The Sasol coal-to-oil installations were vital for energy transport fuels and thus an integral part of both the economic and military backbone of the South African state. And so on the 31st of May, as we mentioned, MK detonated bombs at 3 Sasol oil from coal plants in both Sasolburg and Secunda in a coordinated terror attack planned to coincide with South Africa's celebration of its Independence Day. And in this attack, the IRA actively provided MK with logistical support. Apart from just the training of the operatives, IRA volunteers carried out the reconnaissance on the refineries and assisted MK's planning. As Osmal himself states in his autobiography, the IRA operatives laid the ground for one of the most dramatic operations ever carried out by the MK personnel. The attack's effect on the morale of the liberation movement was inestimable. Yet only Louise, my wife, and I knew that the attack on Sasolburg was the direct result of reconnaissance carried out by members of the IRA. And so, one of the largest and most significant terror attacks ever to be committed on South African soil was carried out by the MK in league with the IRA. The mission achieved its objective, demonstrating that the apartheid state's heavily protected economic assets could be penetrated, and that its fuel backbone was vulnerable to insurgent warfare. For the apartheid state, on the other hand, the attack shattered illusions of industrial invulnerability and forced massive increases in security spending around strategic energy facilities. It also exposed how the ANC struggle was internationalized and military networked, with the provisional IRA transferring skills, operational knowledge and reconnaissance directly into MK's war effort. It also showed that South Africa's internal conflict had become part of a wider revolutionary front, where international left-wing Marxist movements like Umkhonto we Sizwe and the IRA exchanged not only ideology, but also special operations, expertise and sabotage doctrine. The ANC eventually came to power in South Africa in 1994, and Sinn Féin, the political wing of the same movement for which the IRA served as the military influence, radically increased their footprint on Irish politics over the past 2 decades, growing from just around 6% of the votes in 2002 to over 25% in 2020. And they played a major role in terms of passing some of the most destructive economic and immigration policies in the history of the Republic of Ireland. For more on the destructive alliance between the Irish radical left and the ANC, check out our latest very interesting video on how the outgoing left-wing Irish president chose Cyril Ramaphosa as the final head of state in his presidential home by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right now. In that particular video, we highlighted how the leftist policies of parties such as Sinn Féin and the ANC are actively destroying both the Irish and South African republics. If you like our content, remember to become a member of the Willem Petzer Group. Just with your support can we change the hearts and minds of people. Just follow the easy steps on this banner underneath me. Goodbye and God bless.